Hi, I'm Amanda Crooke, and I'm here to show you how to use the Air Tea Kettle. I'm an herbalist, and as an herbalist, I love connecting with plants in many different ways. Humans have been working closely with plants in many ways throughout our experience as humans. We've been working with plants for wellness and nourishing ourselves. We've been co-creating and building with plants. We've been working with plants to make art, to enjoy beauty, fragrance, flavor, everything. Staying close to plants is something that we as humans have evolved to do, and it's something that keeps us well. Of course, in our modern lifestyle, our modern society, we are more removed from that. And so our job as modern people is to figure out a way of staying close and staying connected with plants in a way that fits in with our lifestyles. And that's exactly what the Air Tea Kettle is designed to do. As we humans have been working with plants throughout history, we found many ways of extracting their constituents so that we can consume them and receive benefits from them. Of course, the most ancient form of extraction is a hot water extraction, or what we might call tea. We also do alcohol extractions, glycerin extractions, vinegar and honey extractions, oil extractions, and of course steam distillation, which gives us essential oils. The Air Tea Kettle is an innovative form of extraction. It's a very gentle process that heats dry herbs to release their delicate essential oils into a vapor that can then be inhaled. And when you inhale that vapor, it provides immediate relaxation and soothing to your body. It's a really nice alternative to combustion, which would be burning herbs, whether you're burning them to produce fragrant smoke or burning them to, inhale them to smoke them. It's much more gentle for your body than that. And it's also more gentle than, diffusing essential oils and simply inhaling them directly. Vaporization releases the beneficial constituents of herbs into an inhalable vapor while preserving their flavor, potency, and natural essence. So, how does it work? All right, this is the device. So this is the base, which warms the herbs, and this is the kettle part, or the glass. I love that this looks like a kerosene lamp because I love kerosene lamps, and so to me this is very, elegant, and even though it's a modern piece of technology, it harkens back to the days of kerosene lamps. So the bottom piece warms the herbs. So this piece lifts off. So the first thing you need to do is, put the herbs in the machine. So here you'll see this little metal container, or it's like a little metal basket. So you remove that with your fingers. It's pretty tiny. And this lid comes off. Okay. Hard to hold on to. So we're gonna put dry herbs in this, and that's key. This machine is designed for dry herbs, okay? It's for dry herb vaporization. We're not putting liquids of any form in here. And we're certainly not putting any kind of essential oil or extract in here. Do not do that. Dry herbs. And you want your herbs to be ground to a medium coarseness. So it's hard to see because I need to keep tilting this. In this mortar and pestle, I have a mix of marshmallow leaf, damiana leaf, and a little bit of hops. So I've ground them already. I'll grind them a little more. You don't want to grind them to a powder. This was a mistake I made the first time I used this, because if you grind them to a powder, it'll be too dense in the basket, and some can go through these tiny holes. So you want a medium coarseness. And then I'm going to loosely fill the container, do what I call a loose pack, which means that, it's full, but I am not going to compress it in the container. We want to leave a little space for, the vapor to rise and the heat to rise up. can click on the lid, fits snugly. And then we're going to put it just in the center metal part, and that should also fit snugly. We're gonna put the glass back on, it just sits there. All right, and then we need to turn it on. So to turn it on, it's just 5 quick presses to the center button here. So there's 3 buttons on this device. There's a center power button, and then there's a minus button and a plus button. Most of the action is happening with this center power button. So we're gonna do 5 quick presses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you'll see it says, hello. And then it's immediately going to begin warming to the last set temperature. So you see how the green is blinking? That means that it's warming, not ready to use yet. Now, some notes on temperature. When I received my device, it was set to Fahrenheit, and I wanted to switch it to Celsius. If you read the Beginner's Guide to Dry Herb Vaporization, that ebook that you will have gotten or can access on the website, most of those temperature ranges are given in Celsius, so I wanted to switch it to Celsius. And if you're researching what, in other locations, what temperatures things should be at, they should be at, or a lot of the information is given in Celsius. So I wanted to switch to Celsius. So the first thing to do if you want to do that is you hold down the center button and just one of the other 2 buttons until it switches to Celsius. Or if you want to switch to Fahrenheit, do that and it will just switch back to Fahrenheit. So then you have to choose your temperature, and this is very important because the temperature is going to determine your experience. So different herbs are best vaporized at different temperatures depending on certain qualities about the herb. Mostly how resinous the plant material is and how delicate it is. So a general rule of thumb would be the more delicate the plant material, the lower the temperature. And the more resinous a plant material, a higher temperature. So if you're, for instance, vaping hemp, that would be a higher temperature. So I'm using delicate plant material for this, the Damiana marshmallow and hops, leaves and petals. Damiana leaf, marshmallow leaf, hops, petals. So I want a lower temperature. So I have found that 100 degrees is too low. So I've set mine to 150 degrees Celsius. Now, how do you change the temperature? You have 2 options. Firstly, you can cycle through set temperature ranges. And you just do that by pressing the center button 3 times quickly in a row. And each time you press it, it'll go through the next temperature range option. If that's too confusing to you, like it was for me, you can just use the plus or minus buttons and it will increase or decrease the temperature. And something that's important to know is, it will say preparing herbs. And if you keep changing the temperature, it'll just say preparing herbs until it's ready. And I think that if you start at a higher temperature and then lower it, it takes a little longer to get ready because now it has to cool down. So that's just something to be aware of. When the device is ready, it will say ready to use, and the green will stay constant. That's another sign. So what ready to use means is that it's warm enough to put the warm air through the herbs, but it doesn't mean that the vapor is in here yet. So that means the machine is warm enough. Now it's time to push the air through the herbs, and you have 2 ways of doing that. So essentially you're running an air pump when you do this, and you can run an autofill cycle or a manual fill cycle. Another important note is that depending on the herbs you choose to use, you might not see a dramatic vapor in here, or you might just see a little bit. So again, the more resinous the herb, the more vapor you're likely to see. So with the herbs that I'm using today, we're probably not going to see like a dramatic misty vapor. We might see a little bit. Because the herbs that I tend to use are more delicate and don't show the nice dramatic vapor, I like to do the autofill just so that I know when it's ready. Otherwise, you can do the manual fill. So to do the autofill, you simply press this button twice, which I'll do in a moment. Press this button twice, And then, you know, it will say preparing herbs, and then when it's ready, it will tell you to remove the glass. If you want to do a manual fill, you just hold the center button down for as long as you want, you know, the air to blow through to fill the kettle with vapor. And you're gonna hear the pump. So when I do that, you'll hear the pump going. So let me do this twice. So you can hear the pump, and you can see that this is changing color, and it says, oh, well, it just says ready to use now. So it's filling with vapor, which you can't quite see yet. And I'm gonna leave this on until the last moment, then I'll remove that. Oh, I can see a little bit of the vapor coming up. And then when it's ready, we can remove this. I'll remove the top, and then you inhale it and you enjoy it. Oh, I can see some vapor. It's subtle. You know, and I recommend that you experiment with inhaling through your nose, through your mouth. Oh, vapor's coming out the top. Okay, so I'm going to remove this now and enjoy it, even though it doesn't quite say that it's done yet. Can you? I don't know if we can see it on the camera. Over here. Oh, ready to go. Okay. Lifting it up, and it's really nice. So I recommend inhaling through your nose and through your mouth. You're gonna get a different experience, different flavors. It's really lovely. You know, and this device is nice because it does feel like you're kind of drinking from a glass. Except you're not. You don't have to put your mouth on it. And then you just keep inhaling and enjoying until, you know, all the vapor floats up into the air around you. If you're wondering how to select herbs, we have a whole other video about that. So check out that video. But what I will recommend is that when you're mixing the herbs yourself, you want to include a blend of herbs, typically, that are varying degrees of fragrant, right? So personally, I would not put all lavender in here. For me, that would be too strong. So I might mix lavender with something else that is, you know, like also relaxing to the nervous system, but isn't quite as fragrant, right? Like skullcap, damiana, catnip, something like motherwort perhaps, mugwort. Those are all really nice options. Blue lotus. Okay. So we have done one cycle with this. Now, I want to show you something that I'm really excited about with this. So while this is technically a device for dry herb vaporization, you can put fresh herbs in here too. And this is something I'm thrilled about for many reasons. So firstly, I'm going to show you this. So on the side of the base, there's a little set of tweezers, which are handy. So this center metal basket is going to get quite hot. So I'm going to use the tweezers to pull it out and let it cool for a moment before I try to remove the lid to put fresh herbs in there. So you want to be careful with that. So I am very excited about the Air Tea Kettle for vaping fresh herbs. Again, we're not putting liquid in here, but it's okay to put a fresh herb in. So fresh herbs that are fragrant are just extraordinary. And let's take lemon balm for instance. If you rub your hand over fresh lemon balm, it's just, there's nothing like it. It's phenomenal. It's incredible. You feel relaxed, you feel joyful, you feel uplifted. It's amazing. And you know, if you take that dried lemon balm and you make it into tea, it's very nice. Very nice. You know, you're going to get those relaxing, beautiful, soothing benefits to your whole nervous system. The tea is flavorful, but it's nothing like the fresh lemon balm. but you only get that experience with the fresh lemon balm on the plant. You know, you can't, it's not easy to take with you. And so something that I'm excited about is using the Air Tea Kettle with fresh herbs. Now, I'm filming this video right now in April in southeastern Pennsylvania. It's currently raining and very cold. We even, we're supposed to get snow this morning. So the fresh lemon balm is not quite available. It's just starting to come through. But I was able to get some fresh catnip. This is fresh as of yesterday, so it's pretty wilted. But it's still, you know, it's still soft. So here, it's been mixing in with my other herbs. So this is some fresh wilted catnip from my garden. So I'm going to rip some of this up and put this in the basket if it's, yeah, it's cool enough now. So I'm just gonna take the lid off the metal basket. I'm gonna use the tweezers to clean out the spent herbs. And I will say, so these herbs, if you can sort of see them, I just referred to them as spent herbs. They're not really spent. You could do a number of cycles with these same herbs. You don't have to change them out every time. You'll start to notice when the fragrance wanes, then it's time to change them. They're not burnt or anything like that, which is the goal. I forgot to mention this. If your herbs taste or smell burnt or charred in any way, you're using a temperature that's too high. The herbs should not be burnt or charred at all. They should just be like fresh and fragrant and lovely. So I'm going to rip up some catnip and put it in this basket. And it doesn't even have to be that fine. I thought about chopping it finely, but you don't really need to. Again, I'm doing what I would call a loose pack, where I'm putting it in the basket, but I'm not pressing it. Okay, putting the lid on. Put it in there. And I'm putting the glass on, it just sits in there. And then I'm going to turn this on again because it's turned off. So I'm going to do 5 quick presses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that wasn't quick enough. Okay, one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Now we say hello. Now it's warming up again. Again, it's going to warm to 150 degrees Celsius. And then we can enjoy our fresh catnip. And then it will say ready to use when the light stays consistent. And that's when I can do the quick 2 presses to fill the kettle or the glass. So a good little tool to remember is 5, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so 5 quick presses to turn on, 3 quick presses to cycle through temperature ranges, 2 quick presses for the autofill, and 1 press and hold for the manual fill. So 5, 3, 2, 1. Aside from the plus and minus buttons, that's all that's happening with the buttons. It's pretty simple. I will admit, it took me a little bit to figure it out. But once I did, it's actually quite simple. Okay, so now it says ready to use. So now I'm going to do 2 quick presses. 1, 2. And we hear the air pump going for the autofill. And this we might see a little more vapor because there is, you know, a little bit of moisture in the catnip leaves. Catnip, I feel, is one of the most underutilized herbs. It's so easy to grow. It's readily available. And it is so soothing to the nervous system. Catnip is amazing for easing social tension and social anxiety. So it's really helpful for someone who has social anxiety. It's also really helpful if you are going into a tense situation, if you need to have a difficult conversation. You know, I like to serve like catnip chamomile tea if I need to have a hard conversation with someone, just to help people relax a little bit and, you know, get the conversation flowing. But catnip is also one of my favorite herbs for dry herb vaporization. It's just like, it's so good. And it's one of those herbs that told me to remove it. So I'm going to remove it. Oh, you can sort of see a little bit of the vapor. I'm going to remove this. Okay, it's really nice. Oh my goodness. loveliness. So it's just like, it's all the loveliness of the catnip fragrance, but it's also like green and bright. So this is a really nice way to share and enjoy just the loveliness of fresh herbs. Okay, so, you can use this obviously for yourself, and that might be the main way that you're using it, but you can also use it in group settings, in group rituals. And so something that I'm excited about is using this for bringing fresh herbs to group experiences, right? So if you're sitting in circle with people, or if you're just gathering and relaxing, maybe you can't bring like a fresh potted lemon balm or a fresh potted catnip plant, but you could take some cuttings from your garden or from, a pot that you have growing and bring them with you and share this around. And again, this is a really nice thing for sharing because you don't actually have to put your mouth or nose on it. And again, you can keep the herbs in the basket for a few uses, and then you just have to pass it around, do your autofill, and then people can share it. It's a really nice alternative to burning herbs or smoking herbs in a circle or for ritual use. There are many situations in which you can't smoke or burn herbs, whether you're working inside and there's a fire alarm, which is normal, or, whether someone doesn't want to smoke, if someone has asthma or doesn't want to inhale smoke. There's many reasons why smoking or burning or just burning herbs is not appropriate or is not a good fit for the occasion. And the Air Tea Kettle can be a really, really good option for those moments. It's a really nice way to bring an herb into a circle, bring an herb into ritual, or just bring an herb into your evening or any part of your day in a very easy, simple, and, just clean way. So very easy to use. And when you're finished, of course, you just want to keep your device clean. You want to let the basket cool, remove it, etc. And I encourage you to just keep experimenting, right? Because again, this is it's a new extraction technique, it's a new technology, it's a new way of working with plants. And so I encourage you to experiment with different herbs, see, which herbs affect you, which herbs affect your body in certain ways, see what blends you like, what combinations you like, when you like to use this device, how you want to incorporate it into your daily routine. It can be really nice for daily relaxation. Again, it can also be really nice for more special occasions like ceremony. Can be a really good way of getting to know plants. When you're trying to get to know a specific plant well, I encourage people to interact with that plant in many different levels, whether that's drinking tea, shamanic journeying, dreaming with the plant, taking flower essence. And this is another really nice way to explore the qualities of the plant and how they interact with your body. It's just a very different way. It's a very different experience, and you're going to get to know different characteristics of the plants using this technique. So again, I encourage you to experiment with different temperature ranges, and have fun. Like, this is all about connection. It's all about helping you to feel that sense of wellness that comes from being connected with the plant world and experiencing the calm and the support that plants are able to give us.